Hi, Shayna. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yes.
I can't hear you. Test one, two. Okay, my mic's working. Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hello, hello. All right. Let's see. Hmm. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Lisa.
Hey,
All right.
I have not used Webinar Jam on this end before, so I'm just.
Say something.
There we go.
Hey,
Okay.
Lisa.
Hey,
Mm.
I'm here. Hang on a second. I'm downloading.
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me,
I
Lisa?
can hear you.
I mean,
Yeah,
right? Lisa, does anybody hear me?
I hear
You
I
you.
can
don't.
hear me?
I hear you, Ray. Do you hear me now?
I hear you. Let's see.
Hmm.
Can you hear
Let's
me?
see.
I hear the
Hello.
both of you.
Hmm.
Can you, Shayna, do you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay. Ray, do you hear me? Ray doesn't hear either of us.
I don't think she does.
Okay. We hear
Can
you.
you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I can't hear either one of you.
Turn on your speakers.
Ah.
Turn on your speakers. Are you on mute?
All right, so I know you can hear me. So let me figure out what's going on. Lisa, you use Webinar Jam, right? Have you used it?
I have not used it
Oh, okay.
before, but it's working
It
on
almost
mine.
sounds like.
Look.
All right, ladies. We love technology when it works. And we will figure this out. What was that? I missed it. Oh my goodness. All right.
La, la, la.
Hmm. One moment, please.
Oh, she's gone.
Uh-oh.
It's just you and me.
Yes.
Hi, Shane. I know this is supposed to be your interview. I'm just, we're double booked, but that's okay.
Are you one of the speakers?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, and you're speaking about getting corporate contracts, right?
I am.
Yeah, and I'm speaking about copywriting for your business.
Awesome. We all need that.
Yeah, and I'm interested in what you have to say too. So I would have attended anyway. I was a question mark for Ray because I lost my dad last week, so I had to fly back to New York, and so I'm still there. I guess she thought maybe I wasn't up to coming today, but the show must go on.
We'll get
Hi,
this thing
Lisa.
figured out.
Hi, can you hear us now?
I can hear you because I was muted. For some reason, I mute my speakers. See, we love
Use your
technology.
speakers. I could hear you, but you couldn't hear us. Okay.
And then as I was trying to figure out, because I said, well, let me just take the picture and put it, put my picture instead of the video so y'all won't see me all cross-eyed going crazy,
Yeah,
scratching.
well, I kept messaging you to look at your speakers, but I didn't. I guess you didn't
Yeah.
see
We are here. Well, first of all, my deepest condolences. I really,
it.
my deepest sympathies, and I appreciate you being on the call. Um, and we are a little past the hour, so we're
Right.
just going to get started now. And how this call is going to go. So let me just give you the pre-frame. How the call is going to go is we're going to go for about an hour. The scheduled time is 1 p.m. And typically what I've been doing is we have been having one interview. So I interview one speaker and then I interview the next speaker. And the goal is to give people an opportunity to get to know you and what they can expect when they attend Be Inspired. And at the end of the time together, we typically will invite people to register. And we have a little special promo code for them to do that. And I love this because we're doing like our behind the scenes. So even if someone's listening to this later, I always like to train people, as you know. So love Google Hangouts. So let's get this party started. Yay! So I want to welcome each and every one of you. My name is Ray Majors Wildman, and I am the president and founder of the International Association of Women Entrepreneurs and Professionals. And I am so excited. We have had an amazing 4 weeks of Google Hangouts where we had the opportunity to interview each and every amazing woman, and I just need to do this. I always forget that. Amazing woman who will be joining us at Be Inspired 2014, which is scheduled to happen next week on September 26th through the 28th. And so today's call, I have no doubt it's going to be juicy, it's going to be delicious, it's going to be a lot of information, and I can't wait. I can't wait to ask these speakers some of the things I've been wanting to know about their topic. We have today two of the most amazing women that I have the opportunity to meet. Lisa Rothstein, or is it Stein? I always mess your last name up.
Christine, you got it right.
Okay. Lisa Rothstein, and she is the most amazing copywriter in the world. Not only is she has the ability to turn your copy into cash, but she's just a great person. She is fun to hang out with. She knows how to pull the words out of you and do it in an authentic and congruent way so that you can reach your people. Because at the end of the day, if they can't find you, they can't invest in you, and they're still going to be suffering and struggling trying to figure it all out. On the other spectrum, we have Shayna Rattler with her new hairdo. Yay! So if you have been looking at our Be Inspired conference page and some of the posts that we made, Shayna had the long flowing hair, and she's got the courage. What I've been trying to do for the last 3 years is convince my family to go short. I love it. It looks good. And
so if they're wondering what happened to the black girl with the blonde hair, I'm still here.
Oh, it's you.
It's me.
I love it. I want to cut my hair so bad, but my husband is like, no. Anyway, and my son is like, please don't do that. So one day we're just, as we get older and we have our personal summers, this hair on the back of the neck is not the way to go. So
right.
I might do it pretty soon as well. Shayna is an expert at helping you to get corporate contracts. So we're just going to get into it, and let's start with Shayna, and then we'll move into speaking with Lisa. Shayna, if you can share with people a little bit more about who you are. I know you consider yourself a business coach, but you have a special angle around what you do. So can you share with the audience a little bit more about what you do in the world?
Sure. I work with women and minority business owners specifically who are ready to go big, who are tired of having that conversation with their potential clients of, what you offer is great, but I just don't have the money to afford you. So I work with those people that want to sell their products and services to the big boys who have the big bucks to pay them.
So I can only imagine that there's a lot of women that when you said that, I'm sure I could even ask you, Lisa, how many times have you heard, oh, I would love, love, love to work with you. Oh, I just know you're the person, you're the guru, you're the mentor for me. And then you give them the investment and they're like, ooh, okay.
Yes,
well,
it's true. And we have some corporate clients still, and it's such a different conversation because the money's not coming out of their pocket. It's not, and they recognize the value, and they, so it is, yeah, we'd all like to get some more of those.
Awesome.
Well, Shayna, I know you specialize in helping positioning people. So why is this topic of getting corporate contracts, why is it something that small businesses should consider?
Yeah. So I'm no mathematician, but I want to just share some statistics with you. So corporations spend almost $10 trillion a year on goods and services. And 60% of the companies that are right here in the United States are committed to not only spending money with small business owners, but specifically with women and minorities. And there was a report that was put out recently that said that when a woman adds a corporate contract to her business, within 2 years, her revenue shoots up 266.4%. So if that's not enough to sell you, I've got one more for you. Less than 2% of women ever break the $1 million mark, and of those that do, 56% of their sales come from corporate clients. So the proof is in the pudding. It's not me just trying to sell you the next magic bullet of, oh, this is what you need in your business. The numbers are clear that the money is out there. They're looking for us. And so many of us, we count ourselves out because they think we're too small. They don't buy what we sell. It's too hard to get your foot in the door. So the time is now. If you're really ready to make 2014 and 2015 your year for maximizing your profits, you cannot ignore the money that you're leaving on the table if you're not looking at this corporate marketplace.
That's a very great point, and I think you hit a lot of key points I just want to highlight and underscore. One of the things is the mindset, how as women, we can discount ourselves. And then the other thing that I like to just kind of underscore is that 2%, less than 2% of women will ever break 7 figures. It's interesting because the statistic that I found just in general is that less than 8% of all small businesses will ever generate $1 million in sales. And here's where it gets disheartening, because I know a lot of women who have not even broke the 6-figure mark, and they're working their fannies off. And then I know women who are in the 6 to the mid 6 figures, and they're like, oh, I'm working hard. I'm working so hard. And if they would just add this to their menu of things to offer, it will eliminate a lot of the stress that they're experiencing. So let's talk about something else, Shayna, because you mentioned, people discounting and cutting themselves out of the conversation before they even start. I know many women, their first question that comes to mind is like, well, what are the things I would love to, increase my business by 200%? What are those things that corporations purchase? What are they buying?
Yeah, so if you will, just for a moment, think about a corporation like a small town. So eventually, they're going to need almost any and every product or service that you can imagine, because they're buying not only products and services that help them make their end product or service, but they're also buying products and services to help run their companies well, to train and develop their people. So there probably have only been 2 times in my years of doing this that I have not been able to find a place for someone in corporate America. And frankly, I can't even really remember what those 2 things are. But they're always purchasing coaching and training, productivity experts, social media gurus. I mean, I've even seen them hire scuba diver instructors of all things. So there's very little. And then you also want to take into consideration that they have employee discount programs that your product or service can be a part of that as well. So, don't count yourself out. Very seldom can I not find an opportunity for you to do well in the corporate marketplace.
That's a great point. I had an opportunity on yesterday. I was doing some corporate training with the city of Santa Ana, and they have this huge 5-year strategic initiative that's really designed to help them empower the community as whole, but they're also looking at ways to really develop their resources, which is people. And we were brainstorming and looking at, well, what are some of the things that you can do to incentivize your employees? And some of the things they came up with was like, oh, we could do massages, and then they were like, oh, what if we got like T-shirts and other promo things to give away? And everything that they were saying, I was like, that's a small business that could be serving that marketplace.
Absolutely.
So if I was just new and I didn't know where to get started, I'm like, well, this seems overwhelming, and I'm just a little solopreneur, or maybe I have a small team. What is the first steps to getting started in this space?
Well, there's 3 key things that you can do, and if you come to my session, I'll go over them in great detail. But the very first thing that you have to do is you have to make sure that your business is set up to thrive. So you're going to need, systems. You're going to need a support team in place. Because when you're marketing to individual consumers or other small business owners, you may be able to fake the funk, as I call it, but it's very difficult to be able to have the time to go after new corporate clients and serve them if you're in your business by yourself. Now, I'm the first to say that I'm still a solopreneur. I don't have a major team behind me. Side note, you asked me to share a little bit about who I am. The perspective that I bring to the table is not only have I successfully sold my own products and services to corporations, but I also sell to the purchasing departments of these corporations that are looking to buy from us. So they're telling me exactly what it is that they're looking for. So I sell a lot of my stuff to corporations just like I do small business owners. But I don't have a huge team. It's myself, a VA, and pretty much everyone else that supports me is on a contract basis. I don't have full-time employees other than my VA. But you do want to make sure that you have those systems in place and things of that nature that are really going to help position you better, because it just doesn't look good if your corporate client has to come to you to talk about the business and then also come to you about the invoicing and the customer service and all of those types of things. So have some people to help you. Even if you're sending emails from yourself as your assistant, it just looks a heck of a lot better. So not encouraging you to lie, but just saying that you do need some systems and team in place. The second thing is create a target client list, because when you look at the thousands and thousands of opportunities that are out there and companies that you could be targeting, it can be very seductive. So I encourage you to think about, what are the companies that are in your own backyard, or what are the companies that someone that works there, or perhaps you've worked there, and start with those companies. Because if you try to market to too many companies at one time, it's probably going to extend past the capabilities that you have, and then you're in that race again of I'm working hard. Shayna said this is supposed to be easy. So pick 10 to 15 companies that you can market to. Too many beyond that is beyond your scope. Too many fewer than that, you might not necessarily have enough in your pipeline. And then the third thing is what you're going to do is figure out, like, how do you get your foot in the door? So I know what 10 I want to work with, Shayna, like, how do I get my foot in the door? And the very first thing is networking. But the thing that we've been taught as small business owners about networking does not necessarily work when you're trying to get your foot in the door with a corporation. For example, B&I is awesome. I was in B&I for years, but very seldom do you find corporate people at B&I. So you need to think, where can I hang out before, during, and after work that the people that either have the authority to make a decision or can refer me to people that have the authority to make that decision, where are they going to be hanging out? Also look for organizations, if you're a trainer or a coach, look for organizations like SHRM, that's the Society for Human Resource Management. Places like that are perfect places for you to hang out. Look at your business journals. So, and then think about, now that I know who I want to reach out to, send them an email. Like, it's so easy, y'all. I do 3 things to market my business, and only those 3 things. I'm not going to share all of them today, but the one of them is I reach out through email. But let me give you a caveat about the email. Do not start by talking about yourself. They don't care. They don't care how long you've been in business. They don't care that you're a woman. They don't care that you've got fast machines. They only care about what's urgent to them. So do your homework with those 10 companies. Find out what's urgent to them, and then speak to their sense of urgency. Because if you come to my session, you're going to learn a term called CTC, and that's called cut the check. And the only way that they're going to cut the check is if you find something that's urgent, not just what you think is important or would be good to do.
Yeah, that's all of that's good. I mean, and we want them to cut the check.
We want those CTCs.
And it's true, right? I mean, it's almost like one of those things where it's like, well, I could do this, and I could do this, and I can offer them this, and I have this whole, buffet or smorgasbord of things that I could present to them. But I tell you, every time I talk to someone, whether it's a director of HR or somebody, in the corporate space, all of them are inundated with email. All of them are just like, I got so much on my plate. And right now, the reason why I went in to train on innovation and creativity in the workforce, which was what I talked to the city of Santa Ana about, was because guess what? Their 5-year strategic plan, one of their initiatives is innovation and creativity. And I'm like, well, I can marry the two. I know that,
And so you're able to reach out to them and say, hey, Jane, I noticed on your website, or I noticed on the news that you are wanting to focus on innovation. I help companies to XYZ. Do you think that email is going to get responded more so than, hi, I'm Ray Majors Wildman, and I'm a guru, and they don't care. They don't have time to care.
That's so good. That's so good. All right. That is so good. I could talk to you forever. So let me ask this question. So we know that the first thing, I just want to re-emphasize, the first thing that the person wants to do before they get started is they want to look at their, I call it the back office, making sure that they have systems in place so that they can support the corporate contracts once they have them coming in. The other thing I heard you say is that they want to target, not to go so broad, but to look in their backyard. So get very narrow focus and identify 10 target lists of companies, or 10 companies on your target list that you wish to start marketing to. And then the third thing I heard you say is that they want to make sure that they are not just networking anywhere. Be very strategic, looking for specific places where that target audience would hang out, such as the business journal, such as SHRM, as you mentioned, as an example. So, one of the things that I've heard, and maybe you can address this, Shayna, is like a lot of times people, especially when they're first getting started, there is a huge difference between attending, beInspired, for example, is $197 if you have the promo code. If you were to go to our website, it's $497 right now, and it's a 3-day event. When you attend corporate events, you could probably multiply that price by 3. And what I'm hearing from a lot of women is that, okay, well, what if I have a little tight on my budget and I really want to start hanging out at these places like Inc. Magazine or Entrepreneur Magazine or whoever might have some place, an event. And how can I get into these places on a shoestring?
You know what I call it, Ray? Conference stalking. You know, I say hang out where your target market is. So let's just say, for example, that my target market are CPAs. And I'm not a CPA, so I can't go to the International CP Association's annual conference, but nothing's stopping me from getting a room over the, or, eating dinner in that hotel. Nothing is stopping me from sitting at the bar. So if there's somewhere that you either can't get to because you don't have the money to invest, or you just can't get in because it's an exclusive group, then you just conference stalk. It's not hard. Just show up. Where are they going to be between sessions and after sessions? They're going to be at the bar. They're going to be in the hallways. They're going to be in the restaurants. So just position yourself there and be ready to hold your head high and talk intelligently about what it is that you do. Just show up.
I love that. That right there. That was brilliant. I was like, just do the conference talk. I love that.
I've got more where that came from. Make sure you come to my session.
I hope you don't book us at the same time, Ray, because I want to go to her session too.
Oh, okay. Might have to do some rearranging.
Uh-oh. If not, please, I'll give you a one-on-one that night.
All right.
So what can a business owner do to increase their chances? So let's say I do the conference stalking. Let's say I finally get the in. I put my foot in the door. What can I do to get them to say yes?
Yeah. That's a great question. And the thing that you can do is just be prepared and realize that your success is going to rely on the relationships that you're able to build. And oftentimes, some of the intimidation is because they're a corporation. Well, guess what? Companies don't do anything. People within companies do things. So if you can just remember that the people that you're talking to are just that, they're people, they're looking for you, and just minimize it to the point of you're just having a conversation. So if you're prepared, and you've done your homework to find out what they're looking for, you've worked on your marketing message to make sure that what you're saying you can do and will do is tailored to what you know they need, they're just having a conversation, right? Like, that's what we're doing today. We're just having a conversation about what we do. And who knows what you do better than you do? You can talk about it in your sleep, and if you're like me, you probably do. So just remember, and I want to help you realize, like I said again, is that their primary job responsibility is to find and hire you. Hopefully you don't get fired. If you listen to me, you won't get fired. So if you just can remember that you're there to come from a place of value. And even if you can't help them, you may know someone else who can. So if you're prepared, you've done your homework, you listen more than you talk, and you're always looking at ways that you can add value, that's the best thing that you can do to be successful in business and life in general. And a lot of the skills that you've learned elsewhere are going to be transferable to this marketplace as well. The only difference is the dollars. The dollars are bigger.
That's so true. It's interesting. I had an opportunity to train at Microsoft headquarters back in May. And I will tell you, I was so overwhelmed. I was so intimidated. I was like, oh my goodness, it's Microsoft, and I was just kind of like freaking out. And I remember I was like, okay, I got to get up early. I want to make sure I'll be on time. I was like really stressing over this thing.
And then they were late.
No, I was on time. Everything worked out perfectly. But what was very interesting is that when I was sitting there talking to, at that time it was one of the senior VPs, and I was training a lot of the managers and supervisors, he kept coming to me, the decision maker kept coming to me asking the question, so how are we as a group in comparison to other groups? Are we okay? It was like he was trying to get validation, which just kind of showed as much anxiety I was having over, this event. He was having the same anxiety of because I'm like, they're bringing me into their home, basically. So
and I'm gonna let y'all in on a little secret, and don't tell them I said this. but they don't have their stuff together. It was my limiting belief when I first tapped into this market that these huge Fortune 500 companies, just by the pure nature of who they were and what they were, had their stuff together. Some of them are running their businesses just as raggedy as we are as small business owners. That's why they have such a need for us. And I say that a little bit tongue in cheek because we're just having a good time. But there really are a lot of breakdowns because again, you're dealing with people. And so there's breakdown in their processes, there's breakdown in their communication, and you will start to see that as you get in. But I see it as opportunity. But let that take some of the intimidation out of the equation as well. Is that, yeah, they may be Federal Express, but they just may not have it all together.
Mm-hmm. That's true. So true. So we talked about, if a small business owner is one of the people are listening in and they're saying, oh, I feel overwhelmed, I feel a little intimidated, who am I? We bring in our little inner critic. Who am I? What can a business owner do to get started? I mean, is there help to get started in the space? Where would they go to get that help?
Absolutely. So, you have the Small Business Association and other organizations that offer some free services out there. The certifying agencies, we didn't talk about certification on this call, but if you're wanting, and I encourage you to get certified as a woman-owned company, they offer some services. So there's some information that's out there. But you're really going to, if at all possible, you're going to want to get information from people that have been there. Obviously, I would love to be your coach, but if not, at least find another small business owner that understands the ins and outs. Find someone within corporate who works in the purchasing department, works in HR, and get some information from them, because albeit there's some information that's out there that's free, some of it is not that great. And, if you think about it like a doctor, I think of the SBA and some of the other information that's out there as generalist. But if I had a rare cancer, I would want to go to a specialist. So I encourage you to find someone who is a specialist. As I told you earlier on the call, I'm uniquely positioned because I sell to both sides of the buying table as a supplier and also, as a corporate trainer and consultant. So find someone that is trying to do what you're doing, has done so successfully. I read something the other day that said, here's some good advice. Find someone who's 2 steps in front of you and then learn from them. Mm-hmm. Sounds simple. And it is. If you do a few things right, it can be relatively simple to tap into this corporate marketplace. I shared with you that I only do 3 things year-round to market my business. I don't get caught up in the weeds of a lot of those things that come around and say, this is what you need to be doing in your business if you're going to keep up. I do 3 things, and I've been able to do so successfully.
So I know many of you are probably thinking, oh, my goodness, I need to be at beInspired. To learn what are these 3 things that Shayna is talking about. So before we transition to Lisa, can you share with our audience what they can expect when they attend your breakout session?
Well, first of all, you can expect a lot of fun. I'm a down-home country girl from the South, and I like to act silly. So you can expect a lot of fun. You can expect a lot of straightforwardness. But the technical stuff is I'm going to teach you, first of all, how to position yourself so that when you start reaching out to these companies that are on your target list, you're going to be prepared. I'm going to teach you how to narrow down which companies out there are going to be the right fit for you. I'm going to teach you step by step how you get your foot in the door with those 10 to 15 companies that you target. And I'm going to also help you to overcome the challenges that I not only see every day with my own clients, but these corporations are also telling me that they have. So I'm going to pull back the curtain completely. I'm going to share everything that I can with you in the time that we have there. And when you leave that session, you are going to be fully prepared to take action. I'm not a type of girl that's only going to give you the what and the why, and then you have to try to figure out the how on your own. I'm not going to say, go create a target list, and then you've got to figure out how in the heck do you create a target list. So everything that I give you is not going to be just information. I'm also going to tell you how to do it. So that's exactly what you can expect. If you're ready for the big bucks, I'm going to teach you how to get them.
We're ready for the big bucks.
Yay!
I'm so excited. I'm having one of my little personal summer moments. So that's what I love about my community. I can just go like this. I'll be like, okay, whatever. So I'm excited, and I know that what I love about the women that we have invited, I was really selected, and for those of you who have been listening in the past 4 weeks, you know that one of the things that I shared was that we had over 100 women who submitted to be a speaker, and to weed down, 100 submissions, it's not one easy feat. Matter of fact, there was a very specific criteria, and one of the things that Shayna talked about was one of them. I wanted women who, that I hate that dangling, oh, I'll give you this when you buy my big giant package bull crap that people do. I wanted someone who's going to share the information, give you what you need in order to move forward. And we know realistically, Shayna's been doing this for years. So to think that you're going to learn everything that Shayna knows in 90 minutes is unrealistic. But what we do know is that she's going to give you enough, as well as Lisa, as well as all of the other speakers, enough to move forward. And you can take the information and you can do something with it and get into action. One of my favorite quotes is, information without implementation is just entertainment. And it's not our desire to entertain you over 3 days. It's our desire to really give you the tools and the strategies that you need to take your business to the next level and really create that wildly successful business of your dreams. That you don't have to work all hard on that hamster wheel, that you can come off the hamster wheel and do it smart, not harder. So thank you, Shayna.
You're welcome.
We have Lisa Rothstein. I said it right, yay. Lisa is, as I mentioned, one of my favorite peeps, by the way. I love her spirit. I love her heart. I am so honored that she is joining us at beInspired, but I'm also honored that she is joining us today. And, I'm not going to get into all the details, but what I will say is that she is someone who, she honors her commitments. And I appreciate her in being here with us today. Lisa is an award-winning copywriter. There is a special jingle that she helped create it, and I'm going to let her share that with you, what that's all about. And I was not expecting her to be with us. I thought she was not going to show up, but I was like, oh my God, I'm so honored. And I don't have it. This is going to be like ad-lib, real world. I want to know the details about cashing in on copy. So Lisa, if you can share people who you are and more about what you do in the world.
Okay. So as Ray said, my name is Lisa Rothstein. I was a copywriter on Madison Avenue for many years, and so my big claim to fame, if you remember the Hanes campaign from the 1990s that goes, "Wait till we get our Hanes on you," that was my big claim to fame, was creating that jingle. So I like to say I changed America's underwear, because that was a big change in that brand. So what I do now is I work with entrepreneurs most of the time. I still have some corporate work from time to time. That's why I was so interested in what Shayna had to say. I still work with corporate from time to time through my old network, the ad business. But I work mostly with entrepreneurs and solopreneurs and small business owners now, to bring some of that big brand thinking to how they look at their business, while at the same time helping them understand the distinctions between this clever stuff that we did on Madison Avenue and the kind of more authentic, real stuff that they need to do in order to communicate with their ideal clients. And I was interested in what Shayna had to say before about when you're dealing with people in corporate, they're still just people. And I think that a lot of people don't realize that they're talking to one person at the end of the day, no matter who that person is, no matter where they are, whether their copy is something that's meant to be a marketing piece, that's obviously a marketing piece like a website, or whether it's a email to this person, just like what she was saying. You have to be conscious of who that person is and what their needs and desires are, and be able to communicate with them about that. So that's what I really help people do, is get very clear on who their ideal client is, and to really get inside their heads. And that's something that we learn to do in the ad business, but it's even more important when you're a solopreneur. That's what I would say I do the most. I do write some copy myself for more of my corporate clients, but what I really like to be able to do is empower people to be able to understand how to do it themselves. And it doesn't have to be rocket science. You don't have to be on Mad Men, kind of like I was. You don't have to do those things. You need to be clear before you're clever, and you need to really understand who you're talking to and what they care about in order to be able to serve them and also communicate with them.
You said something that was really powerful. It's about your copy. When you're writing your copy, you want to target one person. And I think sometimes what happens is I'm guilty of it, right? It's like, okay, I need to get all of these people in the room and be inspired, so I just want all of these women entrepreneurs. Where instead of me saying who is taking the time to really sit and identify who she is.
Right. It's not just it's two different things. What you just said really encompasses two different things, because yes, you want to come up with this avatar of the kind of person you're talking to, but I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about in your heart when you're writing or when you're speaking, even to really be communicating with that one person. I'm talking to you, Ray. Other people are listening, but I'm talking to you. And if I said, hey, everybody, all you people out there, it doesn't have the same emotional connection. You have to connect with one person, and then other people who may not be that person, they may even be different, they still feel the connection because there's a relationship going on. But when you're basically spraying and praying and just talking to everybody all at once, it's very difficult. And actually, I had a question for Shayna about that. Because I'm very interested in what you have to say, because that's been a conflict of mine. How does a person work with both? We always talk about having to target, having to be in a niche and stuff like that, and I get the impression that you work with both people like who are in solo businesses and corporate. So when you talk about positioning, how do you position yourself at the same time to both of those audiences? I guess that when you're speaking to one, you're speaking to that one, and you're not talking to them but about the other kinds of people that you serve, because they wouldn't probably relate to it as well. Am I right with that?
Okay, before you answer that, Shayna, before you answer it, I'm going to add a little piece to it.
Okay.
That is a really great question, Lisa, because it's almost like how do you not confuse the brand? So if
exactly, same with you, Rick. Thinking about going into these corporations, I'd like to hear how you're managing to skate that line, in your positioning, too.
Okay.
It's working, obviously.
There's a couple of different ways to answer it, and I really love what you just said, Lisa, about getting clear before you try to get clever. And if at all the results that you get for both sides of the table are the same and or similar, it makes your job a lot easier. Because when you're talking to corporations, you have to talk about the result to the organization as a whole. Just like when you're talking to small business owners, you're not going to get hung up in the process and things of that nature. You're going to talk about the process that you get for them. So I have some small business clients that, let's just say, I'm going to use you as an example. They're a copywriter. And the result that they get for their clients, regardless of what bucket they find themselves in, the outcome is the same. So when you go to their website, they have their claim to fame, or what's known in the industry as the promise statement. And their website is kind of set up as, if you're a business owner, you go through this door and you get more specific. If you're a corporation, you go through this door and you get more specific. If it is not related at all, I'm going to encourage you to ask yourself if that's the best use of your time. Because if it's not related at all, essentially what you're doing is running two businesses, which can be freaking hard. In my case, my messaging is quite the same, because what I'm doing is I'm presenting myself as the liaison between both sides. So I'm basically saying to them, look, Business owners, you want to work with corporations. Corporations, you want to work with business owners. I'm the person that's going to help you play in the sandbox together. And the only way that you can do that is for both sides to improve their performance and recognize what the other side needs and be able to make that change. So if you're tired of figuring out how you hug somebody that's just right across the table, I'm your girl. So my messaging is very clear in that I'm helping both sides to improve their performance so that they can connect with one another. But the biggest thing is try to find a way that your results are the same and you just have two doors that they can enter, like, oh, let's make a deal. If it's not the same, I'm going to encourage you to say, which one of those businesses do you want to make? Which one of those businesses do you want to do? And encourage you not to do. As your coach, I'm going to tell you not to do both.
No, absolutely. But I think the idea that the results are the same, that's the umbrella. It's not just for me, but also a lot of my other clients. I have another business not another business, but I'm writing a book with somebody. Ray knows about this. I have a blog called The Da Vinci Dilemma, and it's about people with many different talents and interests and how do they divide up their time, how do they divide up, how do they decide which way to go with their lives and their creative talents and all that. So yes, you have to specialize, but what you're saying is a real relief to a lot of people, because we're not saying, oh, you can only work with corporate or you can only work with solopreneurs or something like that, because everyone's always talking about how you have to niche. But when you say the results are the same or the outcome you get for them is the same, this is what you do, and this is how you do it for these different kinds of people, then that allows that sort of umbrella allows people to do that. But I will still say at the same time that when you're talking to one of them, you're talking to just them. That's why you have two different doors. I've gone through that door.
That's why I said when they get through their door, you go more specific.
Right. Then now you're only talking because when you're actually, the closer you get to actually making the sale or starting the relationship, the more specific you have to be, to the point where it's like they feel like you're talking just to them. How did she know? How did she know that that's my problem? So that kind of leads right into one of the things that when people, the biggest mistake most people make in their copy, and I think you'll probably agree, Shayna, it's a lot of what they do with it's exactly what you said. The biggest mistake is that they talk about themselves more than they talk about their clients. It's the exact same problem. If people would only remember to I like to talk about this with my clients when I try to train them about how to write their own copy, is imagine that you are the person that you're trying to sell your product or service to. You're them. You're play acting them, and you lie down on a couch, and now you're talking to your therapist or your best friend. Okay, and now I'm just going to ask you, so what seems to be the problem? Well, I have this problem. Well, why is that a problem? Oh, well, because of this, because of that, because of this. And I encourage them to actually record themselves saying this. So I had a client one time who was talking to moms who had problem children, and how to help them, and her website was extremely how to deal with your ADHD child and blah 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 blah. It was extremely clinical, and so I said, well, imagine you're the mom. I said, imagine we're the mom. I'm going to do it. I'm going to imagine I'm the mom of it. I'm not even a mother. But if I had an ADHD child who was having all these problems, I'd be like, well, why is that a problem? Well, because, little Billy isn't getting invited over for play dates anymore, and he's having trouble in school. And, well, why is that a problem? Well, because, if he's not going to socialize, and things are just going to get worse, and then he's probably not going to get into a good college, and his whole life will be. And how is this affecting your personal life? Oh, well, I'm fighting with my husband because our whole lives are about this kid, and all we ever talk about is him, and our relationship is suffering. Well, how is it affecting you at work? Well, of course, I'm being called to school all the time, and I'm leaving my office, and my boss is thinking I'm not responsible, and I'm being passed over for promotions. And I said, does this sound familiar? Am I on the right track? She said, yes. How did you know? How did you know? I said, I didn't know. I just pretended to be that person. And without having to do any research, just do a little acting, and you'll be able to kind of get closer to the kinds of messages you should be saying. So we totally changed her website to be, are these some of the things you think or you say to yourself about your kid, and then added some of those things in that we talked about, and she got much better response, because we really, went to the heart of how it feels to be in that situation where you need to solve this problem, rather than here at such and such an institute, we believe that that no one cares, like you said. So it works for copy too. And I think a lot of people think that it's got to be like Mad Men, and it's so not true. The kind of work that I used to do in the ad business, and the kind of work that most companies really need to do, are the only thing that they share, and that most of them all overlook, is that need to get to the heart of the client's deepest desires and fears. And the fancy words or the catchy slogans and all of that stuff comes after all of that.
That's really good. I mean, it goes back to kind of what Shayna said. We're talking to one person, a human being.
Yes.
And human beings, we all want the same things. At the end of the day, we all want to be happy. We all want security and stability. Most of us all want to know that our life mattered. And when you're talking to that ideal client, and you mentioned the mistakes that people make, Lisa, I would be curious to know, is the mistake that people are making with their copy because they're listening to all the marketing chatter that talks about us beating our chests, and I need to really position myself as the guru and all of that, that sometimes that we get caught up in that hype that we forget that at the end of the day we need to be having more of a conversation around the ideal client's most pressing needs or problems or concerns.
Yeah, I really believe that there's a theme that goes across both of what all of us are saying. That I've also noticed that when you hear all these conversations about how to have a sales conversation, it's the same thing. The more you come from a place of service and a place of I want to help you solve your problem, you automatically become the authority. You automatically become the person that they want to work with. So it really is true that it's better to give than to receive. When you give, you receive. When you're trying to receive, it's exactly the opposite situation. It doesn't matter if you're looking for a corporate gig, or whether you are trying to talk to somebody on the telephone, or whether you're writing a sales letter. The whole thing has to be, it really has to be focused on them. People are listening to WIIFM radio. What's in it for me? Radio, and it's not just that they're selfish. They're especially now when people are searching online for things. I mean, they're searching for how to fix something, how to solve a problem, and if you're the answer to that question, you really who was it? Was it Zig Ziglar, I think, who said, if you help other people get what they need or get what they want, and you can have everything that you want. It's still true, but it's even more true today, I think, than it ever has been. And so I do it mostly with words and with ideas, but that's just the tools that I use. Those are the kinds of results that I'm going for, is to help you communicate with your ideal clients through the actual verbal and written word. But that's it's all the same in terms of making them. First of all, if you are able to understand your client well enough to really make them believe that you understand their problem very, very well, they automatically believe you have the solution. If you can articulate to them at the beginning, you're thinking this, and you're probably feeling that, and you've probably got this issue, and that probably leads to that issue, and maybe you've thought this in the middle of the night, and things like that. If they go, yes, that's me, you could basically say, well, I have the solution, and it involves running naked through Central Park, and they'd be like, great. It must work because they obviously understand my problem. I'm joking, but and the thing is, if you aren't able to articulate those things, your copy is not your problem. The problem is you don't understand your client, and you don't understand how your service solves their problem. So a lot of the time, the reason that I've stepped away from doing as much copywriting as I used to, and working more with people on their overall message, is that I find that people come to me saying, I need a website, I need a sales letter, and they have not figured this stuff out. This is so much more important. And then after that, even if the words you use aren't perfect, people will still respond more to an imperfect message that's about them and real issues than they will to the most slick, perfect thing that rhymes and it's got music. They don't care. That stuff helps them remember it if the foundational things are working. But if the foundational things aren't working, people don't understand, hey, how come I hired this expensive copywriter Or how come I hired this big ad agency and nobody wants my stuff? It's because you didn't even make stuff that they want. I mean, when I worked in corporate, when I worked in advertising agencies, one of my big clients was IBM. And somehow, I didn't know anything about computers, but somehow we pitched the business. I was in the pitch, so they wanted me on the business. And I said to my boss, I said, well, you're going to hire technical people to write the technical part of the copy, right? He said, oh, sure. But he never did. And so it was up to me. Yeah, and it was really hard, but I sat with the clients. I sat with them, the guys at IBM, and they were really nice, but they really were so all about themselves they couldn't see. So I'd be like, why should anybody buy this new computer? Oh, well, it has 8 million teraflops and 8 bazillion gigaflops and all. I didn't even know what these things were. I said, well, why is that good? Why do I care? And over again, you know, I would ask them, it's like, you know, who's the person who's buying this? Why do they need this? What's it going to change for them? And eventually, after a long discussion, they would finally say, well, a calculation that used to take their people 3 days now takes 25 minutes. And I'd be like, oh. So now now I see there's a human being. There's always a human benefit, even to a big technical thing. Mm-hmm. So then I wrote copy that said, well, you know, because of the 8 million teraflops, the calculations that used to take your people 3 days now only take 25 minutes. And they go, oh my God, that's such great copy. It's like, no, it's that it's that we finally figured out what the real benefit was. It's not the hardware. It's not your process. It's not your coaching modality. It's not the way you. It's not even the topic of your speech. It's how does it help me? Why would I? Oh my gosh, that's so great. It used to take 3 days. Now I can do it in 25 minutes. Fantastic. You know, it's going to save me so much time, and my whole staff is going to have all other time to spend on other things, and they'll be able to go home to their families, and all these wonderful things. That's what I wrote about in the copy, and people thought it was genius, but the genius part was getting down to the nitty-gritty of why it matters, and that's you see I'm a little passionate about this, but it works the same for IBM as it does for a coach who's working all by themselves, and the big guys are even worse about this than the little guys. And the little guys make these mistakes because they think, I'll look big, I'll tell them why I'm great, and that's going to make me look important, but it's the opposite. The more it's about your client, the more important you actually become, not just look, but actually become to them because you're there with their solution.
Mm-hmm. You know what? You dropped so many nuggets in that little short window of conversation, and I think the one thing that you said that I find, even as a coach, that I experience, or the challenge I see with my clients many times, is that lack of clarity. And really, what is it that you bring to the world? What is it? What is your genius? And being able to communicate it in a very clear, concise way so that the person that you're communicating to, that they hear you. All of this stuff about, I have these 12, I love how you said that, 12 modalities on how to get you unstuck and break free and blah, blah, yak, all this jargon. And it's like, well, people aren't clicking. They're not saying bye now and all this other stuff. It's because we're not clear in what we're communicating. So I know we're getting close to the hour. And I want to give you an opportunity, Lisa, to share what people can expect when they come to Be Inspired next week. And before we have you share that, I just want to remind people that today is your last opportunity to attend for $197 with the promo code RAISEGUEST. After today, it's no time, right? We are diligently working to get everything prepared for you, and super excited for the speakers who are going to be attending, as well as we're going to be having our Girls Just Want to Have Fun dance party. Yay! I love to dance. And we also are going to have some powerful networking on Friday night. So you want to make sure that you're bringing plenty of business cards, that you bring your dancing shoes, and that you're bringing your workout gear, because we have yoga and Zumba planned for Saturday and Sunday morning. So to register, you just want to go to beInspiredconference.com and use the promo codes RAISEGUEST, and that will get you in for only $197. So, Lisa, what can they expect when they come to your breakout session?
Well, when they come to my breakout session, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you a very simple 5-step formula that I learned in the ad business that I still use every day to write any kind of copy, whether it is an opt-in page or a sales letter or even an email, to somebody that I've never met before. That what I'd like to do is for people to become empowered to understand that they can do this themselves, and that even if they hire a professional, I want them to feel that they know exactly what they're trying to say, at least that the professional is there to just polish things up and make it more compelling and more beautiful, but it's not up to a copywriter to figure out your business for you. I'm going to help you figure out what it is, how to get inside the head of your ideal client. One of the things I shared with you, the therapist exercise, is one of the things we'll be talking about. I'm going to share with you when it's appropriate to share, obviously, all the things that you bring to the party. Those things that has a place in your copy, but it's not right up at the top where people usually put it. So it's a question of what order of importance you put, all of it, because I have all the stuff to say. Where do I put it all? So I just want people to be able to walk away, even after just 90 minutes, with a feeling like, yeah, I really do have a handle on this. I can, communicate about my business in a clear and compelling way myself. And then if they want to go further, we'll obviously have a way for them to take it further. But I find that when people come away from this talk, they really feel inspired and also empowered that they have a new way of being able to generate content and copy for their business, whether it's a blog post, whether it's a sales letter, whether it's even a tweet or a Facebook post. All of these things come off of a pretty simple formula.
And I had the opportunity, Lisa actually had joined me at one of my other events, Platform Success Secrets. I think it was last year. You were at that event, right, Lisa?
Yeah.
And I had a chance to sit in on her training, and she blew my mind. I was like, it was so simple. Sometimes you just think it's all difficult and it's got to be challenging, but she broke it down in such a simplistic way that I was like, oh, I can do this. Not only that, she has such a great sense of humor, as you can tell, and so does Shayna. So I have no doubt that with both sessions, and it's going to be hard for you to choose, right? Like, who do I pick? All of the speakers are amazing. And I know some of you you're going to stress over that. I'm going to say don't stress. What I'm going to share with you is that you want to decide, what do I need next in my business? And that will help you in the decision-making process as far as who you want to spend time with. With that said, both of these women are going to bring their A game, I have no doubt. And each session that you attend, you're going to take away some real nuggets that you can really use in your business and in your life. Because at the end of the day, isn't that what it's about? I mean, the conference is Be Inspired, because it's not just about business. It's about you creating a life that you actually am inspired, that you actually love, that you actually want to wake up every day and say, I love my life. I got an email on yesterday, and my client was just sharing some of the accomplishments that they had over the last week. And what I loved is at the end of the email, they said, I love my life. That's what I want for you. I want you to look, when you look at your life, that you can you know what? I love my life. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to have challenges. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to have, mistakes and failures, and that everything is going to be sunny. Life happens. You have the good and the bad, but in the midst of it, when you can look at your life overall and say, you know what? I wouldn't change a thing. That's living. So I look forward to seeing you ladies next week. Inspired 2014, and this is Coach Ray, as always, saying, live boldly, authentically, and courageously. We will see you soon. Bye.
Bye.